All right, folks, listen carefully because in just a matter of days, we're staring down a double crisis that will hit more than 100 million Americans at once. On October 1st, SNAP rules change. On October 15th, Social Security updates drop. Now, when I tell you that these two massive shifts are about to collide, I'm not exaggerating here, guys. For millions on food stamps, the government is dangling a so-called increase in benefits, but at the same time, new rules and cuts are designed to rip support right out from under vulnerable families. And for 67 million seniors on Social Security, yes, there is a raise coming, but rising Medicare premiums, retirement age changes, and new tax rules are set to take some of that money back. Now, here's a kicker. Drop a increase in the comments down below if you're looking forward to a bigger Social Security check. But for many households, these shocks hit at the exact same time. So this means your groceries, your retirement check, and your very ability to keep up with bills could all be rewritten in just 2 weeks. So today, I want to go ahead and break it all down for you. What's changing, who's getting hurt, and how October just became the most dangerous month of the year for your wallet. Hit the like button, subscribe, guys. Do not blink because this is the kind of news that they hope that you miss until it's too late. Now, folks, I want to go ahead and set the stage right here, right now. October is not just another month. It is the collision point. Now, on the one side, you've got SNAP, the food stamp program that 42 million Americans depend on to simply eat. But on the other side, you got Social Security, the lifeline for 67 million seniors, disabled workers, and survivors. Now, if you add those together, that's more than 100 million lives about to be shaken inside of just 2 weeks. Now, this isn't abstract. This isn't theoretical. For some, October will bring a little bit more money in their check. But for millions of others, it's going to mean losing benefits, facing new rules, and watching the government pull the rug out from under them at the worst possible time. And this is why I call this October, what it really is. It's a double crisis month. But the good news is I have something special for the Ron Yates community. Be sure to stick around because some folks are, getting up to $1,000 back on this. So drop a $1,000 in the comments down below if you would like to be a part of that. Now, let's talk about the first shockwave that's hitting on October 1st, the so-called SNAP increase. Now, on paper, it sounds like it's good news. Maximum benefits are going up. A single person can get $298, a household of two, $546, a family of four, just under $1,000 at $994, and a household of six, $1,421. Now, that's the headline, okay? That's what the government wants you to hear. But here's a twist that they don't talk about, okay? Now, $994, that's pretty close to $1,000 right there. But here's a twist that they don't talk about. If you're a senior on food stamps, many of you will only qualify for the minimum benefit. And you know what that minimum is actually after all the forms, after the paperwork and all the waiting? It's only about $24 a month. Now, think about that. $24? Like, can you even do anything with that? That's barely like one bag of groceries in today's economy, right? So while these politicians are standing in front of the cameras talking about increases in support, the reality for millions of seniors is really nothing more than a slap in the face. And even for families that are, getting that higher number, don't get too comfortable there because as you're going to see in just a second, there are new rules and cuts that are already being baked into the system that threaten to take it all back. So this is why October is being described as both a raise and a raid at the same time. You might get a little bit more money in your bank account, but the government has already built in ways to claw and snatch it all away. So shout out to the government, right? I thought they were supposed to be looking out for us, right? Now, if I asked you to rate your Medicare confidence from 1 to 10, where would you land? If it's not a 10, that's a problem, okay? This is exactly why I partnered with Chapter. Their advisors raise that number by reviewing your Medicare plan up until the point that you feel secure. Now, one of our viewers on the channel, she left me a comment just the other day. She said, Chapter took me from about a 4 to a 10 on my Medicare confidence. I absolutely love that. So let me ask, do you want to stay uncertain or do you want to do what most people already are and choosing certainty? Now, most people, they're calling the phone number right down below on your screen right there, or they're visiting askchapter.org/Ron. Telephone number is 909-563-8279. So here's where things start to get even more dangerous. It's not just about how much SNAP pays. It's about who even qualifies anymore. So starting October 1st, the eligibility rules, they tighten like a vice. Now, for most households, your gross income must be below 130% of the federal poverty level. So that means for a single person, about $1,696 a month. Now, for a family of four, that is $3,483 a month. Seniors and the disabled get a slightly higher threshold, $165% of the poverty line, and around $2,152 a month if you're living alone. Sounds generous, huh? Not so fast, guys, because right alongside those income tests are asset limits that are just as brutal. Now, if you're under 60 and not disabled, you can't have more than $3,000 in assets. Is that anybody in the audience today? If you're a senior or you're disabled, you're capped at $4,500. Now that means your bank account, your savings, even certain financial resources can disqualify you. Does that sound fair to you? I mean, you would think that they would want you to be financially secure so you wouldn't be so dependent on the system, right? Well, it's almost like they want you dependent on the system. Does that even make sense? Why do they want people dependent on the system? Anyway, so here's a real kicker. If you miss reporting just one deduction, your medical expenses, your utilities, the cost that you're legally entitled to have factored in, you could lose everything. Now think about that for a second, okay? Years of paying taxes and one overlooked form line could wipe away your benefits overnight. Does that sound unfair to anybody? But as bad as that is, it gets even worse because the cuts coming from Washington aren't just about eligibility. They are structural. They're baked into the very law that governs SNAP. Now, I'm talking about the Republican mega bill passed earlier this year and the executive order signed under President Trump that are forcing the USDA to implement some of the deepest SNAP reductions in decades. Now, here's what it means in plain English. Millions of Americans, seniors, veterans, parents, even the homeless, will face expanded work requirements or be cut off entirely. Now, for the first time ever, adults age 55 to 64 years old are being roped into mandatory work rules. Parents of kids as young as 14, they're now being expected to prove work hours just to keep food on the table. And many people are excited about this. They're saying that this is long overdue, but the other side of the camp are saying this is completely unfair. Let me know where you stand. Now, remember, those exemptions that used to exist for veterans, for homeless individuals, for young people aging out of foster care, they've been stripped away. No more safety valve, none. So the Congressional Budget Office estimates that 4 million people will lose some or all of their SNAP benefits this fall as these rules bite down. Every month going forward, another 1.4 million people could be stripped out of the program. So when they talk about efficiency, understand the translation. It means fewer families getting help, more red tape, and millions are left scrambling. Even veterans, the very people who wore the uniform to defend this country, are no longer safe from the chopping block. Comment down below if you're a veteran or if you know a veteran. Let me know, guys. And so, as if the federal cuts were not enough, the states are now piling on with their own restrictions. Now, for decades, SNAP had a clear rule book. You could buy groceries, fruits, vegetables, meats, dairy, bread, cereal. Man, I love some cereal. I don't know about you guys. What's your favorite cereal? My favorite cereal is probably a toss-up between Fruit Loops and Honey Nut Cheerios. Anyway, let me know your favorite cereal. Snack foods, non-alcoholic drinks, even seeds to grow your own food. Does anybody grow their own food? So anyway, there were obvious bans on alcohol, tobacco, hot foods, or supplements. It was pretty simple back then. But now, a wave of states are saying, not anymore. Florida has already banned SNAP junk food purchases, hitting 2.9 million people. Now, that's could be good news. You know, maybe some people will benefit from that. Maybe, lose a couple pounds or whatever. Texas followed suit. 3.1 million people affected. Louisiana, Oklahoma, Arkansas, West Virginia, Indiana, Iowa, Nebraska, Colorado, Utah, Idaho, and the list keeps growing. Let me know where you're watching from, guys. So this isn't just theory. These bans are scheduled to roll out through 2026, and millions are going to find out that their food options have been cut in half. You want to buy a bag of chips? You want to buy a soda? You want to buy a box of cookies with your benefits? Too bad. Those states are saying no. Even worse, some states like Mississippi and Tennessee, South Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, they're already considering joining the crackdown. And the experts are being blunt. Once this spreads, only a matter of time before the USDA makes it national policy. So SNAP isn't just being cut, being rewritten, it's being reshaped to restrict what you can eat, where you can shop, and how far that little card will stretch. But here's the pivot, because just 2 weeks after SNAP changes land, we get the next punch in the gut. October 15th, the day Social Security announces its annual COLA. Now, here's what's projected: a 2.7% increase. Now, for the average retiree, that increase is about $54 more per month. Some calculations are showing that that will equate to an increase of $650 a year. Sounds like good news, right? A little extra breathing room? Well, not so fast, because at the same time, Medicare Part B premiums are set to rise by more than 11%, about $26.50 more per month. So I want you to do the math, okay? Nearly 40% of that COLA raise, 40% of that COLA increase gets swallowed up before you even get to see it. That means your real increase is more like, it's closer to $32 a month. $32 for a whole month, guys. That's not even enough to cover a week's worth of groceries for one person, right? So here's the part that really burns. The COLA formula, it's based on the CPIW. This is a measure of urban worker spending. But most retirees don't spend like workers. They spend more like, they spend more money on healthcare, housing, and utilities. And those costs are rising way faster than 2.7%. Healthcare alone is up 4.2% a year. So this is why so many folks are really benefiting from Chapter. That's why I partner with them, because they are saving a lot of Americans money. In fact, the average senior is saving about $1,000 a year thanks to Chapter. And it is a totally free call and a totally free service for the Ron Yates community. So if you look down below in the description of this video, I'll even try to remember to leave a pinned comment for you guys. Give our friends at Chapter a call right now. See how much money they can save you on your Medicare, because with all these cuts coming, I'm pretty sure a lot of folks are going to be able to benefit from some savings. And I have I've received so many comments over the last 4 or 5 months from folks who are saying how much they've saved with Chapter, how much extra benefits that they've discovered or that the Chapter has found for them. But yeah, especially the savings, as we're going into the holiday season, folks are going to really be looking to save some money wherever they can. So I don't know how much you'll be able to save, but again, the average senior is saving around $1,000. Heck, I'd take an extra, $400 savings if there was savings available for me. Anyway, so while Washington pats themselves on the back for raising benefits and increasing benefits, seniors, they know the truth. It's a shell game. They give you with one hand and then they take with the other, and then you end up falling farther and farther behind. It's not even fair. So now I want to talk about a change that really hasn't grabbed the flashy headlines, but it hits deep. I'll just tell you that right now. The retirement age shift. So back in 1983, Congress went ahead and passed a law to gradually push the full retirement age up from 65 to 67 years old. Now that phase in is about to be complete in 2026. So what does that mean? It means if you were born in, I don't know how many of you guys were born in 1960 or later, your full retirement age is now officially 67 years old. So let me tell you why that matters. Here's why it matters. If you claim Social Security early at 62, penalty is even harsher than ever before. You essentially are permanently locking in a smaller check for the rest of your life. But on the flip side, if you delay past 67 years old, you still earn an extra 8% per year up to age 70 years old. Now, the message is clear. Timing is everything now. If you claim too soon, you lose thousands of dollars forever. But if you wait longer, and yes, you'll get more money, but the question is, can you afford to wait? Can you afford to gamble on your health, gamble on your job and your life expectancy just to play the government's new game? That's the impossible choice that millions are facing right now. So basically, they have forced you to invest in this Social Security program. Now, it doesn't even look like there's any guarantee you're going to get everything that you were supposed to be able to get. Like, that's not even fair. Like, they're almost like enticing people to, okay, don't start claiming benefits at age 62. Wait till you're 67. But the government's hoping people die before they can collect their benefits. That sounds like a ripoff to me. I mean, let me know if y'all think that's a ripoff. That just sounds pretty messed up. And of course, I fall into that camp. If I'm being honest with you guys, by the time I'm even eligible for retirement, they're going to probably tell me, oh, full retirement age is 75. 75 years old? Man, don't even get me started. So right now in 2025, the wage cap for Social Security taxes is $176,100. But in 2026, that number is going to jump to $183,600. So if you are in the top end of the earnings, that's another $465 that are going to get pulled out of your paycheck for Social Security taxes. Now, maybe you're thinking, well, that doesn't affect me. But here's the kicker. Those extra taxes don't guarantee full benefits down the road, because remember, the The trust fund is already set to run dry in just a few years. So while more money is being pulled out of the higher earners today, there's no ironclad promise that it's going to be there tomorrow. So we got seniors forced to wait longer to claim, penalties if they don't, and workers paying more into a system it's really on shaky ground. Now, if that's not a double hit, I don't know what is. Now, I want to go ahead and dig into another trap that doesn't get talked about enough. This is the earnings test. Now, if you decide to claim Social Security before you hit full retirement age, the government is watching exactly how much you earn from work. And if you cross the line, if you cross their line, they're going to go ahead and slash your benefits. I swear that's the only word they know how to do. Not enough increases, way too many slashes, right? Now, for 2026, the earnings limits rise slightly, but the bite is still brutal. So if you're under full retirement age, you can only make about $24,360 a year before they start docking your check. So for every $2 you earn above that limit, you're going to lose $1 in benefits. So that means you're working for 50% off. Yeah. So if you're reaching full retirement age in 2026, your limit is about $64,800. Now, if you go above that and for every $3 that you earn, you end up losing $1 in benefits. Technically, they say you'll get those lost benefits back later when they recalculate your payment at full retirement age. But here's the reality, guys. That doesn't help you pay the bills today. That doesn't keep the lights on when you're stuck deciding between groceries and prescriptions. So, you're basically stuck in a very cruel squeeze, and the government's taking advantage of people, if you ask me. Work too much and then you lose your check. Work too little and then you can't survive. So what the heck are people supposed to do? So here's another piece that is really kind of hitting the younger generation pretty hard. Work credits. To qualify for Social Security at all, you need 40 work credits, which is about 10 years of covered employment. So in 2025, one credit equals $1,810 in earnings. But in 2026, that number is expected to rise again. So if you're a steady full-time worker, no problem, you rack those up. But if you're part-time, if you're a gig worker or someone who gaps, somebody who has gaps in your work history, you could end up playing into the system for years and still fall short of qualifying for your benefits. Now, think about how insane that is, guys. You got younger workers hustling in this so-called gig economy, doing Uber and DoorDash. Some people are delivering for like Walmart, using that Walmart Spark and stuff like that. They're doing online freelancing, and many of them are not earning enough covered wages to build up the credits. They're paying taxes, but they're on track to be shut out entirely when retirement comes. Does that sound fair to anybody? Because that don't sound fair to me. That's the fine print that nobody's telling you about. You can do everything right, keep working, keep contributing, and still be left with nothing. So here's where the story gets even darker. The Social Security Trust Fund cliff. Now, according to the trustees, the combined trust funds could be empty by 2033. Now, that's only like 7 years away from now, okay? So when that happens, if nothing changes, benefits across the board would face a 23% cut. Now, let me paint the picture. If you're depending on a $2,000 monthly Social Security check, whether you're SSI, SSDI, none of that matters. Overnight, that $2,000 Social Security check would drop to $1,540. That is nearly a quarter of your income gone. No warning, no appeal, just cuts. And it won't just hit retirees, survivors, people on disability, veterans, families. They all get cut at the same net. So the question is no longer if cuts are coming, okay? The question is not if cuts are coming. It's who gets hit first by the cuts and how bad. So now President Trump, he's been trying to tackle this crisis from another angle. His administration has empowered the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, to go ahead and comb through the Social Security Administration and to find waste, fraud, abuse, and outdated systems. Now, Trump appointed Commissioner Frank Bigiano to modernize the SSA's operations and stop billions from leaking out through inefficiency. Now, supporters say this is the only way to stretch the program further without hammering taxpayers even harder. Cut the waste, patch up the leaks, and maybe, just maybe, Social Security can hold on a little bit longer. But critics, they're pretty blunt. Audits and modernization might save some money, but they don't fix the fundamental math. The system still has more promised benefits going out than payroll taxes are coming in, and every new tax deduction, kind of like the senior deduction included in Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill, may give households relief now, but it also reduces the revenue that's flowing into the trust fund. So the Trump White House is stuck in the middle right now, trying to deliver short-term wins for seniors while staring down a long-term solvency crisis. And the clock is ticking loudly. TikTok. So now here's where it all collides. October 2025 is the month of the double crisis. On October 1st, SNAP changes land, new benefit levels, stricter eligibility, tighter rules. Then 2 weeks later, on October 15th, Social Security announces its COLA, retirement shifts, and tax changes. Now, for many families, this isn't two separate issues. It is the same household. A grandmother relying on Social Security, also helping to feed her grandkids with SNAP, right? A disabled veteran who qualifies for both programs, a family where food stamps buy the groceries, but Social Security keeps the lights on and pays the rent. And suddenly, in the span of like 15 days, both lifelines are being rewritten at the same time. This is why I call this October the most dangerous month for your wallet in decades. It's not one crisis. It's really two, smashing into each other at the same time and hitting the same people the hardest. But I want to go ahead and look ahead because the long-term picture is even more sobering. For Gen Xers, the reality is brutal. You may need an extra $150,000 or more saved just to offset the projected Social Security cuts that are coming on the horizon. That's not optional spending. That's survival money. Spread that over the next 15 years. That could mean setting aside $700 every single month starting right now. And for low-income households, the news is just as grim. New SNAP work requirements are stripping away benefits from older adults, parents, even veterans as more states pile on restrictions like junk food bans. Millions more are at risk of losing the flexibility that they've always been able to count on. So the message couldn't be clearer. I mean, the system's unstable. SNAP is under attack from new rules and state bans. Social Security is staring down insolvency. This October is proof that the programs millions depend on every single day and every single month are shifting faster than ever before. So here's the bottom line, guys. Circle two dates on your calendar right now, October 1st and October 15th. These aren't just some random deadlines. These are the dates that could decide the future of your wallet, your groceries, your retirement. On October 1st, SNAP rules change. For some, October 1st actually means an increase, but for others, it means stricter limits, tougher rules, and a higher risk of being cut off entirely. Then, just 2 weeks later, on October 15th, Social Security makes its big announcement. This is a raise on paper. This is an increase on paper that could be wiped out by Medicare premiums increasing, retirement rules shifting under your feet, and the trust fund clock ticking down faster than anybody wants to admit. This is why folks are calling Chapter, because they're looking for help, right? So I think in this climate, you take all the help you can get. Thankfully, Chapter is providing a free service to the Ron Yates community, and they will help you as best that they can. And if you know someone else who's receiving Social Security, Medicare, basically, definitely you want to share that phone number with Chapter with them so that they can find out if they can save any kind of money as well. We have to look out for each other, guys. So this is the collision point. And if you're not paying attention, you will feel the shock in your bank account before you even realize what hit you. So here's what you need to do. You need to review your own eligibility, check your deductions, and look at your retirement timeline now. Do not wait until after the announcements to realize that you've been blindsided. Because the truth is very simple. You cannot stop the collision, but you can prepare for the impact. Now, I want to hear from you guys. Do you think that these October changes are fair? Do you believe that they're going to help, or are they just another government shell game? Drop your thoughts down below, guys. Let's go ahead and get a conversation going because millions of Americans are about to feel this. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and remember, the only way to beat the system is to stay one step ahead of it. Now, if you found this breakdown helpful, hit the like button, smash subscribe, and share this video with someone who you know who is going to be affected by these changes. Now, we got a long road ahead, guys, but together we can make sure that each other is prepared one step at a time. We'll see you guys next time.